This happened when I was 17 years old when I was a junior in high school. Growing up, I've always been sort of an odd kid. I was socially awkward and never had the courage to talk to other people my age. I was that one loner who sat by himself at lunch keeping to himself. The only people I did talk to were my teachers and one of my closer friends. He was sort of the same as me, but had much more confidence and was willing to talk to people. He'd sometimes even give me advice on how to approach girls, but I never got around to actually doing it. Eventually, it came to a point where he had practically insisted I ask someone out. I never really had my eye on anyone, but I told him I was willing to give it a try. It was then where my friend had told me about an app called Tinder. I didn't use social media as I never enjoyed it, but after several attempts at convincing me, I finally downloaded the app. I began to set up my profile, created my bio, and chose a few pictures that I thought looked the best. Out of curiosity, I began swiping left and right for people I liked or disliked, trying to get a match. For the first week or so, I had gotten no matches and thought that this app was based on pure luck. However, that was until one night when I was home alone watching TV. As I'm watching TV, my phone goes off. I look at it and see a Tinder notification saying that I had found a match. I open the app to find that I had matched with a really cute girl who didn't live too far away. She claimed to be just a little older than me, had several photos, and while she wasn't a 10 out of 10, she wasn't ugly. While we didn't go to the same school, we did live in the same county, which in my book was a plus. Her name was Denise, and we hit it off well. We start talking about ourselves, and I had told her about my life and interests. Funny enough, we kind of both had the same type of lives. We had a few insecurities, and we were oftentimes shy around others. At one point, she then asks what I was currently doing, to which I replied with watching Halloween Kills. By some coincidence, she tells me that she was doing the same thing, and that we should watch it together. After all, this was around Halloween, so I guess it was common for people to watch this. I was hesitant at first, but then remembered what my friend said about getting a girlfriend. In the end, I agreed, and she shot me her address and told her to let her know when I was here. It was only about a 10-minute drive, which was manageable, and seeing as it was a Friday, I decided to go. I plugged the address into my GPS and start driving to her house. My GPS took me to the more rural side of town where you'd commonly see ruined down houses and things like that. I approach her house, and as I pull up, I instantly notice the red flags. All of the lights were off, and there wasn't a car parked in the driveway. This made me believe that she wasn't home, and I then text her to ask where she was. Not even a minute later, she texts back saying that she's inside and to come through the garage door. For clarification, I'm not talking about one of those big garage doors, just an individual door that leads to it. Now, the way her house is set up is that the door that leads to the garage is on the right-hand side. However, in order to get to the door, you have to unlock the fence to get inside. At this point, something in my gut told me that the whole situation seemed off and that I should just leave. In retrospect, that's what I should have done. I approach the gate and open it and see that the door to the garage has been slightly opened. Above this door was an orangish light that kept buzzing when it was turned on. I then yell out for Denise's name, only to get a response back. However, there was something noticeably off about this response. Her voice didn't sound natural. It didn't sound like the voice of a woman. but rather someone trying to mimic it. Not wanting to pry and too tired to care, I approached the door slowly until coming to a complete stop. It was then when I could very faintly see a face of a man peeking out from behind the door. He had a salt and pepper beard and his hair was a mess. He was still trying to clearly sound like a woman and kept persuading me to come inside so that we could meet. I then said I'll come in a second and to hold on. Obviously freaked out, I make something up and pretend I'm on a phone call. Hey Ma, what's wrong? What? She's on the floor unconscious? I'll be over, stay right there. This made the person silent as a mouse as he watched me pretend to panic over the phone. That being said, I sprint back to my car and drive the hell out of there as fast as I could. I didn't even bother calling the police as I knew there was a slim chance of him still being there. The profile was instantly taken down so I couldn't report it to Tinder. Till this day, I'm still unsure as to what his intentions were. Was he going to rob me, assault me, or do something much worse? From that point forward, I swore to myself that I would never use another dating app again, and instead change my ways to actually meet people. I used to work as a third-party contractor in the convention area of the Swan and Dolphin Resort/Hotel. Sometimes we would have to be there at really early hours of the day. This was mainly because we had to get things ready for any upcoming conventions or events. Hosting large events was a nightmare, and being the coordinator of a convention center, I had to plan everything out. One day, I had arrived earlier than usual before the union laborers to get a head start on the day. I'd also like to mention that I had used a few dating apps at the time like Tinder, Grindr, OkCupid, and so on. The reason for this is because I had just gotten out of a 2-year-long relationship with my ex-boyfriend and was just trying to move past it. Long story short, he was basically a walking red flag with a toxic atmosphere. Those who have been in relationships like that will probably relate to what I'm saying. Anyway, I'm in my office planning on what day to host some meeting with my team when I get a notification from OkCupid. It was a man who I had never seen before who appeared to be in his late 20s. The message goes as follows. Hey, I'm new to this. I saw your profile and thought you looked cute. Do you want to grab lunch? I politely text back and tell him that I was busy and that I'd be willing to possibly chat later. Fortunately, he agreed to that and I hadn't heard from him until the end of the day when he had messaged me again. Around this time, I had just been getting ready to leave work and we start chatting back and forth. I tell him about my life, where I worked, and what I did. I really wish I didn't tell him any of that. One day, I had been at work doing my usual routine of signing papers. I then get a message from him asking if he wanted to talk. I politely tell him no and that I was at work, but that I'd be interested to possibly chat later. However, he disregarded my response this time and said that I, quote, looked good in my office. It took me a good minute, but I eventually realized that he was talking about the current moment. He then sent a picture of me in my office on my phone. The photo appeared to have been taken on the right side of the convention area. However, the area I was in was huge and empty with not a single soul in sight. Mind you, this was about 7 in the morning, and I was the only one inside the building with access to it. I take a look around the room, and that's when I see a door slightly open from the back. I couldn't see who or what was in there as it was pitch black, but I knew whoever was messaging me had to be in there. Before I started panicking while knowing I was being watched, I stayed calm and walked outside. That's when I pick up my phone to call the police and explain everything. I give them my location and they advise that I lock the doors in the area until they arrived. That's exactly what I did. I mean, obviously, I wasn't going to go lock all of the doors in the building as it was simply way too big. Thankfully, police in my city actually took their job seriously and arrived within minutes. One officer asks me a few questions while the other two enter the building. To their surprise, however, they didn't end up finding anyone, even after tossing the place. They had even checked the room where I was sure the man was hiding, but was unable to find him. The most disturbing part about this, though, was when police viewed the security footage. Inside the convention area were two cameras, one on the left and one on the right. The right camera had captured this man going into the room that led into the basement. However, he was never found down there though, which makes me wonder if there are any hidden rooms in there that I don't know about. As of today, the profile is still up and active as I do check on it from time to time. I had since moved from there and had gotten a new and better paying job. And hopefully, one where I don't feel like I'm constantly being watched. My name is Brittany, and this happened about 2 weeks ago, and it's something I thought I'd share. I'm 17, currently stand 5'6", and was a junior in high school at the time. Up until now, I recently started working out at my local LA Fitness to get in better shape. I'm very insecure about my body and figured that working out would benefit me physically and emotionally. I won't bore you with unnecessary details, so I'll just get straight to the point. One night after school, I had drove over to the gym to get my daily workout done and started my routine with some cardio. So there I am on the treadmill when some guy who I had never seen before gets on the one next to me. I didn't think anything of it and just kept to myself trying to get on with my workout. He then turns to look at me and started giving me hand signals to try and get my attention. I cooled down the treadmill and asked him if he needed anything, to which he replied if I wanted to work out with him. Keep in mind that I was 17 at the time, and this guy looked to be in his late 20s or early 30s and was definitely out of my age range. I tell him no thank you and that I do better without a partner, and proceed to get back to my workout. Trying to focus on doing your workout with someone disturbing you is painfully annoying. He eventually asked for my Snapchat, and for whatever reason, I stupidly gave it to him just so that he could leave me alone. He seemed to get the hint and then walked off. I ended up staying at the gym for about another hour or so before I decided to call it a night and head home. As I'm in the car listening to my music, I get a notification on my phone from Snapchat saying that Alex sent you a message. I quietly cursed to myself and left it alone until I got home. When I pull into my driveway, I open up Snapchat and view the snap he sent. It was a picture of him in a dark room with a caption that said hello with 2 O's. I took one look and ignored the snap when not even a minute later he snapped me again asking to why I didn't answer. Right then, I knew this guy was trouble, so I blocked him and thought that was the end of him. A few hours go by and my family makes dinner, and soon after I go to bed in my room upstairs. Those who have been to or are in high school will probably understand the stress I was going through. I'd say I lied down on my bed for a good hour or so before waking up to the sound of something hitting my window. I look up and there's this huge crack in my window, but didn't see anyone from down below. At the time, it was hurricane season and the winds were strong on this night, and figured it was probably a rock from the wind. However, I then woke up to a shocking discovery the next morning. As I woke up, half asleep, I check my phone and see 20 plus Instagram DMs from Alex. They were all just littered with unnecessary questions and statements. Everything from "Hi, how are you" to "Why did you block me?" I have no idea as to how he got my Instagram, but the most disturbing message was the last one that read, "I'm sorry I broke your window. I didn't mean to wake you." That one still sticks with me, and it's also the reason I'm never using Snapchat again.